The doctrine of heaven. Heaven is often imagined as a distant realm, suspended beyond the reach of time, reserved for a future arrival after the end of earthly life. Yet the testimony of Scripture presents something far more profound. Heaven as the fulfilled reality of God's dwelling with humanity, brought to completion through the finished work of Christ. From the beginning, heaven was never merely a location, but a condition of divine presence. In Genesis, God walked with man in the garden. Heaven and earth were not divided in experience, though distinct in nature. The rupture came through sin, not as a relocation of God, but as a separation in awareness and fellowship. Humanity became estranged, not because heaven moved farther away, but because the veil of separation stood between God and man. Throughout the law and the prophets, heaven is revealed in glimpses, visions, types, and shadows. The tabernacle and the temple were earthly patterns of a heavenly reality. The most holy place symbolized access to heaven itself, yet access remained restricted. The high priest entered once a year, bearing blood, signifying that heaven was not yet openly revealed to all. The prophets spoke of a coming age when this separation would end. Isaiah declared, "Heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool." Yet he also foresaw a time when God would dwell among his people in a new and living way. Daniel described a kingdom set up by God that would never be destroyed, a kingdom not confined to earthly politics, but rooted in heavenly authority. When Christ came, he did not merely speak about heaven, he embodied it. He proclaimed, "The kingdom of heaven is at hand," indicating immediacy, not distance. His works revealed heaven's power breaking into human history, healing, restoration, authority over creation, and forgiveness. Heaven was no longer a distant hope, but a present reality unfolding. Christ's death marked the decisive moment in the revelation of heaven. When he declared, "It is finished," the barrier between God and humanity was removed. The veil of the temple was torn from top to bottom, signifying that access to heaven was no longer restricted. The separation that once defined the human condition had been fully dealt with. His resurrection confirmed not only victory over death, but the inauguration of a new order of existence. Heaven was no longer concealed in shadows or accessed through symbols. It was openly revealed in the risen Christ. His ascension did not remove him from humanity, but established his authority as the one in whom heaven and earth are united. The writings of the apostles testify that believers were brought into this reality. They spoke of being seated in heavenly places, not as a future relocation, but as a present position. Heaven was not described as merely ahead in time, but as a current participation in the life of God through Christ. The language of new heavens and new earth reflects the completion of this transition. It is not the abandonment of creation, but its renewal. The former order, characterized by separation, law, and shadow, passed away, and the new order, defined by union, grace, and fulfillment, was established. Heaven, in this sense, is the realized dwelling of God with humanity. The imagery of the New Jerusalem descending from heaven illustrates this truth. Heaven is not portrayed as humanity escaping the earth, but as God bringing his dwelling into full expression among people. Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men. This is the culmination of all prophetic expectation, the complete union of divine and human fellowship. In this reality, heaven is not measured by distance, but by presence. It is the unveiled experience of God's nearness, made possible through Christ. There is no longer a barrier, no longer a veil, no longer a separation. The knowledge of God, once partial and mediated, is now direct and complete in him. Thus, the doctrine of heaven is not merely about a future destination, but about a fulfilled promise. It is the revelation that through Christ, the reality once anticipated has been fully established. Heaven is the domain of God's reign, his righteousness, his peace, and his life, now openly revealed and eternally secured. This is the testimony of Scripture, that heaven, once veiled in mystery and symbol, has been brought near, revealed, and established through the finished work of Christ, where God and humanity dwell together in unbroken fellowship.